Hey YouTube, Nova Piper. I guess you know what day it is. Smoking a cob. And today I'm smoking something really weird for me. I'm smoking Deception Pass from Seattle Pipe Club. It's a vapor. I smoke English. That's what I like, but I tried different stuff, and you know, I didn't mind the Mississippi River, so I thought I'd try Deception Pass. Pretty sure it's Red Virginias, and I think the Red Virginias or something. Ben told me that the Red Virginias may be more towards suitable for my palate, so I bought a bunch of different types of mixtures that had Red Virginias in it. And I guess what I'm getting at is just because I smoke English and I don't like Virginia and I don't like, you know, aromatics and stuff like that, I still try them every now and again. So I got a can of it. Thought I'd give it a shot. I got a story today. Usually I just sit here and just talk about shit that comes into my mind, but I'm actually going to tell a story. I'm going to try. Yeah, my stories don't go anything like you're going to find from Stephen, like Cobbett of the Shire. My storytelling skills are nowhere near that. I'm going to give it my best shot, though. I was born in 1969. So do the math. And this is a story about how I learned how to play Stairway to Heaven, by the way. So I was born in 1969. So I kind of missed the whole Led Zeppelin thing. When I was a kid in the 70s, I used to listen to, it was Kiss. That was the thing for me, right? That's what got me into music, was Kiss, Ace Frehley. And I remember Ace Frehley had that black Les Paul, Gibson Les Paul Custom with the 3 pickups in it on one of their album covers. So I had to go buy myself. I actually had to go buy one. It's not a custom, but it's a Les Paul standard. Before, I think mine's 2006. I think it's the year, I bought it brand new, and it's the year before they started cutting the mahogany away. Anyway, I'm drifting here. Let me get back on topic. So anyway, how I learned Stairway to Heaven. So born in 69, and I've always been into music. Always, always, always. Spend a lot of time with my older cousins, and they were always into music, and they always had fancy stereos. And one of my cousins was older, and he'd always give his hand-me-down stereo to his younger sister. They were both older than me. So I was always exposed to like these wicked-looking stereos and, you know, that kind of shit. And I was exposed to music. My uncles used to sit around and get drunk and play guitar all the time. I used to bang on the beer boxes. But anyway, my best friend, who just visited me there a couple weeks ago, he lives in Newfoundland, and he was in town, so he stopped in, and I'm in Halifax, so he stopped in, and we sat outside. I smoked a pipe. He don't smoke pipe, and we were shooting the shit. I met my best friend in 1976, and we've been best friends since then. He walks into my house, my family's house, like he's family. I walk into his house and his family's relatives' house like I'm family. So his aunts and uncles and shit like that. When we were, you see that cross? We were 11 years old, and we did that with a sewing machine needle and some India ink. And we were freaking 11 years old, man. But anyway, we've always played guitar, so it would have been, this would have been, let's say, 1984, and it was the summertime, and we'd always, in the summer, we'd always go visit my grandmother, who lived in the Miramichi region, and we'd take the train. So he came up with me one summer, and we went up to the Miramichi. We took our electric guitars, and like, I'm talking old beat-off pieces of shit. I don't have that guitar anymore, but I still have my first like good quality electric guitar that I say good. I paid $300 for it, and that would have been 1986. And I still have that guitar that I bought in '86. So this would have been the year's 1984. I would have been 15 years old. And we went up to the Miramichi on the train. Me and my best friend and my father. My father was drunk, so he'd always have a bottle on the train and pour drinks, you know. You pour drinks, get a buzz on and stuff. So anyway, on the way home from coming back to Halifax, the train broke down in Moncton. So we were stuck in Moncton for 4 hours until they could get a couple of locomotives come down and take the train back to Halifax. So we were sitting in the train station with me, my best friend, and my father. My father's nursing a hangover, so he'd always pull out his bottle of vodka. He didn't give a shit, man. He'd just look around like this and pour a little bit into a cup, you know, and drink it. Caught the attention of this other guy, you know, who was, you know, he was younger than my father. Biker-looking kind of guy comes over and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Seen Dad with the bottle, and Dad gave him a drink. He says, "Yes, you drank me a bottle of Jack Daniels last night. I'm nursing a bed one here." And him and my dad was a sailor, so Dad started talking to him, gave him a shot, fix his hangover, and he says, "I see your young fellas got the guitars there." He said that he goes, I play. I'm on my way to Halifax to do a gig, is what he said. And he said his name was Blaze. He played bass for a local band around here called Dutch Mason Blues Band. Now, Dutchy Mason was well known in Atlantic, Canada. They called him the Prime Minister of the Blues. His son still plays, Garrett Mason. He still plays around town. I seen Dutchy Mason before he died play. He got all crippled with arthritis, so he couldn't play anymore. But it was always a show. He'd always just sit down with the band, be playing, just sitting in the chair and be telling the story, and it was ever fucking cool, right? So anyway, 1984, and here's the bass player from Dutch Mason Blues Band seeing our guitars. He goes, "Well, we see them," so we pulled them out. They're all pieces of shit. And he says, "Hey, you know how to play? What can you play?" So we didn't know how to play much. He goes, "Let me show you. I'm going to show you a song." We're stuck there for 4 hours. So my other friend was left-handed, so his guitar was left-handed, my best friend, and I'm right-handed. So he grabbed my guitar and he showed us how to play Stairway to Heaven. Now, if you guys don't know this, you know, Stairway to Heaven, the introduction to Stairway to Heaven, it's, you know, it's rock classical, so it's like a classical style riff. And he showed us how to play it. Pretty sure, I gotta forget now, I'm pretty sure it's A minor. But he showed us how to play that intro riff note for note. And we actually fucking learned it. And I was just in the house before I did this video. I said, I wonder if I could still play that. Nobody plays that song, you know what I mean? It was like, what was that movie? It's like, no, you're not allowed to go to a music store. No, you cannot play Stairway to Heaven if you pick up a guitar. And even, like, I'm not shitting you. I'll go into a music store and then joking around and someone will start that riff. Everybody goes, "No, you can't do that." I think it was Wayne's World was the movie they did that in. Yep. And then he was saying to me and my buddy, he goes, "Listen, tonight I got a gig," and told us where he's playing. "If you guys show up, I'll get you in the door." And we're only 15, but when I was 15, I looked a lot older. I was in high school 15, and on Fridays I used to make a killing because I take my backpacks and stuff, or my jock bags, book bags, and on Friday afternoons everybody would get me to go to the liquor store for them because I could get into the liquor store because I looked old enough, and I'm only 15. So they'd give me a bunch of money, and I'd go down to the liquor store, buy a bunch of stuff, and then, you know, I'd have enough money to buy myself some liquor and, you know, a gram of hash or something like that. So I looked a lot older. So we're sitting there in front of my dad, and we're like, yeah, okay, well, thanks, buddy. So then later on the train, we start walking up and down the train, and we found where he's sitting, and beside this Blaze guy. So here he is sitting there, right? He's hitting on these chicks, you know. He's this old, you know, just a guy gigging around Atlantic, Canada, you know what I mean? His guitar, plays bass, you know. So he's hitting on some women. And we said, "Hey, I couldn't say nothing in front of my dad, but if we show up, we can get us in," you said? And he's like, yeah, but, you know, he's trying to act very cool in front of the ladies, and then he's got these 2 kids coming up trying to, you know, ask them to get him into a gig kind of thing. So I don't know if he thought that, you know, the woman he was hitting on thought that was cool or not, but anyway. Yeah, so that's how I learned Stairway to Heaven. in a fucking train station in Moncton on a broken down train. There's a blues song right there. That's a fucking blues song. Well, I've been doing a lot of writing. I'm writing a lot of music. And I've always said that story to people. And that'd make a perfect blues tune right there. Especially where I'm doing a lot of writing right now. I'm thinking, I've been really expanding shit, man. I'm getting into sappy music. I'm getting into acoustic music. I'm doing, thanks to Wave of Java, man. I got a couple of Pearl Jam tunes I'm putting into acoustical with a friend of mine, and we're going to redo. The Death of Gord Downey got me into it and all this shit. So I'm writing in different keys I'm not used to, like major keys that I don't do, open tunings. I'm doing acoustic versions of rock songs, you know. But I love blues, and I love that old friggin' 1970 Sabbath and shit. You know? So I'm gonna try to get some words down for this here because I'm getting into writing, and I think that'd be fucking cool. Like a good story to write a song. You know, the train broke down, and Moncton, oh, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'll figure something out with that. I'd like to get some cool lyrics because it's a pretty cool story. So here I am from 1985, and what is it now? It's the end of 2017, man, and I'm still at it, and I still play that song. I think that's a pretty cool story. I don't even know if that man's still alive. My father's been long dead. That man may not even be alive. Dutch Mason's dead. You know, and here's my best friend from 1976. You know, we just stopped in the house 2 weeks ago maybe. He was sitting there, and we were sitting out on the deck, man, you know. Yep. So that's how I learned Stairway to Heaven. Anyway, I'm having a hard time keeping this pipe going. So I'll let you go. Thanks for watching. See ya.